Hi, this is RayJ Murphy. I'm Director of Paddle Sports for Pro XR Pickleball. I'm also one of the team owners of the Chicago Slice in Major League Pickleball. I coach the team, head up the draft. And you are listening to the Lake Forest Podcast.
The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Looking for the best pool supplies? Look no further than Dohany's Pool Supplies. With a history dating back to 1967, this family-owned business offers everything families need to keep their pools clean and sparkling, from chemicals to equipment. Plus, customers enjoy free shipping on all orders. Visit Dohany's Pool Supplies today at doheny.com, DOHENY.com, to learn more. Forest Bluff Real Estate Team serves Illinois, Wisconsin, Lake Forest, and Lake Bluff. John Josephitis, Laura Lee Van Fleet, and of course Michelle Parnell. Get a free market analysis now at forestbluffrealestate.com. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Havey Communications has been helping first responders arrive safely since 1983. It's owned by Lake Forest's own Mike Havey. Check them out at haveycommunications.com. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters: Costa, Lance, Otto, RDM, John C., and Helen. Shout out to the Lake Forest Breakfast Group, Broadstop and Captain Mike's in Kenosha, the Greentown Tavern, and the Frolic Lounge in Waukegan. RayJ Murphy, welcome to Lake Forest Podcast, my friend.
Thank you, Pete. Nice talking to you here.
Pickleball, Chicago Slice. Talk to me, my friend. What is your background? You are one of the owners of the There's a professional pickleball team in the Chicagoland area. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, sir. One of 24 teams in Major League Pickleball. We're the Chicago Slice.
That is a genius name. Genius name. Ray, could you clue me in and the listeners and viewers about you yourself? Because the topic of pickleball came up. The reason why it came up is people are crapping about, the noise and all that stuff. And then when I looked into a little bit more, this is a big, big thing. And you're in the middle of it. Can we start with your background and talk about the growth of this major league sport?
Sure. Born and raised in Cheshire, Connecticut, played multiple sports in high school, came out to Chicago on a tennis scholarship from DePaul University in 1974, played 2 years on the team, had a good summer. After my sophomore year, playing national tournaments, and got together with my dad, decided to take a year off, got to know some people, had some mutual friends out in Las Vegas. I said, if I'm going to try to play pro tennis, I need to be in warm weather. So took a job out in Las Vegas at the Cambridge Towers and Racket Club, and used that as my home base for the next 4 years, playing as soon as I just teach all day, as soon as I'd get 10 grand saved up, boom, I was out on the smaller tours all around Europe and the United States trying to work my way up. My goal is always get to top 25 in the world.
So RayJ, who are bigger players, tennis players or golfers? off the court. You guys
bigger?
have a good time? I'm just saying, having a good time. Golfers, because Netflix is doing their shows. You can see what they do off the course. Or what stays off the court stays off the court.
It does. I think they all know how to, if they're at the professional level, they know how many hours a day they need for training, on-court practice, and the better ones know that when they get off the court, they just want to relax, listen to music, hang out with their friends, do not talk to me, whatever professional sport I'm doing. So they've learned how to manage that when you start doing it full time, because once you get to a tournament, it can be pretty lonely out there.
Yeah, and hydrate. Now RayJ, do you have any connections to Lake Forest? Because somebody from Lake Forest said I should reach out to you. They must be really big pickleball fans. That's how they know about you. But do you have any connections to Lake Forest?
I've lived in the same house for 33 years. Got married there October 20th of 1990 to my beautiful wife, Cindy. Raised my children there, Lexi and Olivia. Worked with Rick Amos for a few years on the Friends of Lake Forest to raise money for the Lake Forest Park District. Have been helped out coaching the high school tennis team. Owned the Lake Bluff Lake Forest Bath and Tennis Club from the early 90s till I sold it in 2007.
So you're a player in Lake Forest. You know what's going on. You see, you hear things, you see things.
Absolutely.
So pickleball, all I know is what Wikipedia tells me. Okay. Did it start in Washington? Was it a dog, or was the dog named after pickleball? How did this thing get started? I'm guessing it started in Washington.
Well, the fun one, the dog story is fun, and that's kind of a little folklorish, but I don't want to ruin that because a lot of people still hold to that. But this Congressman, Joel Pritchard, in the summer of 1965, got together with some of his friends. They had a badminton court. They took their ping pong paddles, got a wiffle ball, started playing. And the reason, what he says it got named pickleball was there's a lot of crew out there outside the Seattle area. And a pickleball boat race is when there is an event or a team match in crew, any of the oarsmen that are not competing from all the other teams would all get together and form their own teams to have their own little fun race. And so that's kind of where they said, hey, it's kind of like a pickleball race because it's a combination of badminton, ping pong, tennis. And so that's how he said, Joel Pritchard says. But then everyone else likes to just say they had a dog named Pickles. They had a dog that kept stealing the ball when they were trying to invent this game. And so they named the dog Pickles.
Yeah, it's probably some reporter that want to make a better story. So,
a lot easier.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a shorter court. Where did the racket come from? Like, how did they know to start? Like, what did they use? A badminton?
They used ping pong paddles. Ping pong paddle.
Okay. All right. So then they
need a wiffle ball.
And a wiffle ball. Okay.
And they had the net, which is 60 inches high for badminton. They tried it that way. And then after they said, we need to get this a little more like tennis. The net's too high. So they lowered it to 36 inches, which is the height of a tennis net in the center. And then it was off to the races. Then they did in their backyard. They put it on their driveway and named the game and took off from there.
Okay. So when did it start getting going in Lake Forest? Because I want to say 3 years ago, I went over to the Winter Club, and I'm not a member. I was invited, and it was a Sunday night, and it was a ladies pickleball league. And I looked at it, I'm like, what the hell is going on? And these moms are ferocious, louder than Serena Williams. I mean, just going at it, competitive. I'm like, wow, what the hell is this? And now I hear about it, see it, everywhere. When did it get going in Lake Forest?
I'd say 4 years ago, they started taking, I live a half mile up the street from Waveland Park.
Okay.
And that was the first time that I saw it come in there where you can just go on a tennis court, and a pickleball court the dimensions are 44 feet long, 20 feet wide. And so what they would do is they would put blue lines on the courts at Waveland, and I'd see people playing out there. I'd come home, my wife, I'm saying, Cindy, they put a dedicated pickleball court at Exmoor Country Club maybe 8 years ago. And I played it with Mike Raleigh over there and said, wow, this is fun. But I'm 45 years a tennis pro, 25 platform, every day, all winter in Chicago. Great sport, but I'm 63. I'm getting too old. I'll play when I retire someday. I really just wanted to work on my golf game. And so it's been around, and then it's just, they started lining them all across the country. Then they started, making, dedicated courts. And now, 4 years ago, there were 3 million people playing in the United States. This past year, 48.4 million people played pickleball.
So this isn't a fad. This isn't.
Oh no.
Okay. All right.
Oh no. And the mastermind behind really everything with Major League Pickleball, this fell from Dripping Springs, Texas, Steve Kuhn, who is, I don't think I sleep that much, but he must only sleep 1 or 2 hours a day. He came up with Major League Pickleball for a team event, and he's the one who is spearheading. He started 2 years ago. He likes coining phrases and naming things with cute, catchy names, and he had it. His title was, he wanted everyone to get on board with 40 by 30, meaning he wanted 40 million people playing in the United States by 2030. And a couple of years ago, I said, wow, this is ambitious. I think he's going to do it. And everybody said, you're nuts, RayJ. We'll never get that in 7 years. 48.4 with an average age of 34 years old of the 48.4 million that played last year. And his goal now is 1 billion people. He wants 1 billion worldwide, and he will get it.
So before we get to the professional side of things, things only matter when it affects us, politics or pickleball. People are crabbing about the noise. What can we do? I've seen things with, different types of rackets. You can make that knocking sound maybe stifled a little bit, but when you're playing early in the morning, late at night, and these people are yelling, because to me it's louder than tennis. They're more passionate in pickleball than they are in tennis. And that's just watching it a couple times. What can we do to deal with the sound? Because I believe they just shut the Lake Bluff pickleball courts because they didn't have whatever permits or the noise or whatever. So this is like a local issue. Do you got any thoughts on what to do about the noise?
When I actually came on board with Pro XR Pickleball 2.5 years ago, and we started the design, putting our ergonomic handle on paddles, and Ron Saslow, the owner of 35 Capital, our venture capital company, when we first started looking at how we're going to build these, what are we going to do? Well, right off the bat, out in Arizona, they already had all the pickleball paddles broken into red paddles and green paddles. Red paddles made too much noise. You couldn't use them early in the morning on Saturday and Sunday. You had to wait till 11 o'clock. The green ones were fine all the time. So even though with our first paddles that we came out with, we put this, it's called Aramid. It's an aluminum honeycomb core in it. It played fantastic, but boy, was it loud. So we said, as great as that is, let's not start off with, we're a new company. We're trying to get people to try our paddles, and right off the bat, half the people are going to hate it because it makes too much noise. Yeah. So we went with this. What the standard right now is, everyone goes with this polypropylene honeycomb core, which isn't quite as loud. But now with our company, we're on our 6th generation of paddles, and we already have prototypes made. I can't say what we have on them, but muffled noise. We've been working on, there's probably 10 big players in the game working on the ball, so it doesn't make as much noise. And I actually have one in my bag, one of our paddles that you could play with it. No one would object. I know in Lake Bluff, they're talking about putting sound barriers, this, that, but within 3-4 months, you'll have a ball, and we'll have paddles out that, really, it should be from 8 in the morning till dusk. I get this 6 in the morning, but because even when I was always testing out paddles, and Claude, our chief operating officer, would just make me prototype after prototype after prototype, and up there West Park and then behind Deerpath School, I almost knocked those walls down. I've hit so many balls, but I'd never go out there till 9 o'clock in the morning, because it does. It's a high pinging sound. It makes it's noisy. I mean,
well, no, it's those moms, those passionate moms that I mean, the fangs come out and
okay, so you think it's the noise from the passionate moms? You don't think that they're passionate to play tennis out there?
Hey, I hear you, but it's there's more frequency with the pickle, right? Because it's shorter, it's together, and when you're in combat face to face, I think that's part of it. I don't know. I played football.
Yes.
I don't know
It
anything.
almost sounds like a machine gun going off when you get into what's called a hand battle, where
Yeah.
you're just smacking it fast and it's bang, 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 and it's that
Yeah.
high pitched sound. And
Well,
no,
and the people, they're passionate and they're louder, which is, part of it. Great, they're working out. So the question is,
fun.
it's a fun thing. And now a covered court. If you want to play early and late at night, would you do a covered court? I don't know how you would do a covered court, because a lot of people are painting off their driveways and doing pickleball court in the driveways.
Yes.
I don't know. I hate poking fingers at things without offering a solution, and I don't know enough about this to offer a solution. You have a quieter racket, and it's almost like you got to put a muzzle on the paddle.
If you say racket, no one's gonna take you seriously, Pete.
Okay, paddle. Okay. Well, they don't take me seriously now. Coming from the guy with the pizza slice on his shirt. So it's almost like if you want to play early, I think it's early and late. If we can figure out how we can play at those times, that, I don't say restrict, regulate, or whatever it is, but maybe there's certain courts you can play at for that. I don't know.
What I think is a perfect, when I first got in touch with Rick Amos, and then I talked to Chuck Myers and had a 2-hour meeting with him to explain to him everything about pickleball, the dimensions of the court, what has to be there, why there's so many injuries, what they need to do if you're going to put them in Park District. Behind Deerpath is absolutely perfect. Just stay away from the places, where you have homes within 30, 40, 50 yards. And in those areas, okay, say 9 o'clock in the morning, you can't play before that, unless you have one of these paddles or this ball, because it's the hard plastic on the fiberglass carbon fiber face that makes that loud noise.
Yeah.
The court surface really isn't making any noise. It's the sound of the hard ball. And I've seen a lot of prototypes, and that's coming, but that's why I think Deerpath is absolutely perfect back there.
Well, RayJ, these people are going to come out there with their decibel meters and
keep it under 70.
Keep it under 70. Okay.
Yep. From 50 yards away.
Of the paddles. Okay. So now, professional leagues. Who started the first professional league? How did this? Who ponied up the money? Was it an ego thing, or was it, was there a business plan behind it that eventually you're going to make a profit? Like, what's the story?
Okay, well, there's the professional tours. Those started in 2019. The APP was started by Ken Herrmann, a pro that I've known in the Chicagoland area for 25 years. We taught together tennis at Libertyville Tennis Club, and he started in 2019, and then Connor Pardo and Conner Ogden started in that same year the PPA, the Professional Pickleball Association. So they both got sponsors, and then they were both, March 15th of 2020, struggled through 2020 with COVID. But then it was in 2021 that I got involved with, okay, now the sport is exploding, because now there's real incentive for these college players there's money for them to be made, other than just being a teaching pro. There's money made to price money tours. But while those were going on, Steve Kuhn from Dripping Springs, Texas, he came up with the idea of Major League Pickleball, a team event. 3 years ago, he had one event. Then 2 years ago, he had two. Then he said, and I went to them, and they were so fun. It was just like Ryder Cup. It was unbelievable. And that's when got together with Ron Saslow, the owner of our company, and we said, look, they're expanding in 2022. They're going to have 16 teams. We have got to get into that league, whatever it costs to buy a team. So Ron, in his genius, knew that he needed, high profile sports people on social media, entertainment. It's like part of our team. We have Tom Rickets is a part owner. Ron is the majority shareholder in the Chicago Slice. We have Doug Ellen, who's the creator of Entourage. Heidi Klum put a money, and then we have 4 number ones in tennis that were Grand Slam winners: Chris Evert, Lindsay Davenport, Tracy Austin, and Gigi Fernandez. And there's 20 other people like myself who have what I call a slice of the slice.
You're in the right job, RayJ.
Yeah, and so it exploded.
So a couple of things that come to mind, and correct me. You talk about money, like if you go through the tournament, the winners 25 grand per team member, or what's the payout? I thought I saw something like that.
That was a couple of years ago.
Okay.
They paid out. Now there's 24 teams.
Yeah.
And they split it up into in December we had the draft of 2022. You got to choose whether or not you had to play. It was going to be for the entire calendar year of 2023. You were going to play, the Chicago Slice was going to play 3 events in the Challenger League and 3 events in the Premier League. We chose to be in the Challenger because I had been to 30 pro tournaments over the last couple of years, so I had a nice relationship and I knew a lot of the players. So we decided so the first 4, each team has 2 men and 2 women. So the Premier got to draft first, the first week of December. And so they picked who they thought were the top 48 players that were eligible. Then we had our draft on December 12th. And we picked our 4 players in it's called a snake draft. Yeah. First and down the line.
Did I see a woman was number 1 pick? Is that true?
Annalie Waters, yes, yeah. 16-year-old.
Okay, wow.
Yep, number 1 in the world.
And is it just your league that's a mixture of men and women, or is it all pickleball professional leagues? I thought it was unique because I saw the mixed teams.
Yes, in each event we started off in Mesa, and then we went to Daytona Beach, and then we just finished in San Clemente last week. You have and then they've changed it and tried to eat with each event. They're making little improvements, but there's a women's doubles match to 21, and then a men's doubles match. Let's say Team RayJ is playing Team Pete, and there's a women's doubles match up to 21, game to 21, then a men's doubles, and then 2 mixed doubles matches. And if it's tied after those 4, you would play what Steve Kuhn came up with, which is called a dream breaker, which was 1 game to 21, where you send out an order. Each of your players plays singles for 4 points. And whoever gets to 21 and wins by 2 wins that match. Oh, and those things are gut-wrenching. They're so exciting.
So if people want to watch this, like the game is to get the television rights. Are we there yet, or what? Because you're talking about this exponential growth. Somebody's going to want to be able to distribute it. What does the future look like for that, or do we know yet?
Yes, the PPA, the Professional Pickleball Association, owned now by Tom Dundon, is they're all, like last weekend, I watched the tournament from Denver, Colorado. They're on the Tennis Channel, not Tennis Channel 1, on the Tennis Channel on weekends for 8 of their events this year. I think they have 18 or 20 events scheduled for this year. And then Major League Pickleball, those are also, they're shown on either ESPN Plus or Tennis Channel, or I just watch it live on Major League Pickleball on YouTube. I watch it live there. Now,
this is pretty hot and heavy for the past, say, 3 to 4 years. You know, the growth is going to come. You say the average age is 34, but you know, to keep this thing going, we got to get the kids involved. How do you get this introduced in schools and clubs? Any plans on that?
Yes. And I can only tell you things that I know are factually true and to the public. You know,
there's no fact checkers on this show.
We're working on getting it in clubs in the high schools, in college, And Steve Kuhn has another one of his programs to raise $1 billion from Congress to put it for the in inner cities, for the high school gyms that are unused in the afternoons, to fund that for kids to have something to do in the afternoons in a lot of these places where they don't have much to do. So it's expanding huge into grammar schools and high school, college.
Well, I was saying college, there's got to be scholarships for this. There's got to be some, is it still club sports or?
Still club, but I'd say within 2 years, they'll be having scholarships. And both Ken Herrmann and Steve Kuhn's goal from 3 or 4 years ago was one thing. We have got to grow this sport. So by 2028, we have it in the Olympics. You need 40 nations to have a team there. And that is Steve's driving goal every minute of every day, of how he can grow this game, because it is so much fun. You can have a 5-year-old with an 80-year-old playing on the same court, all with tennis and platform tennis that I taught. If you're a squash player or a racquetball player, they're a little too risky for it. But this sport, you get squash players. Daniel De La Rosa beat our team at San Clemente. He's the #1 ranked racquetball player in the world in men's. So all sports can come to it. It's easy to learn, fun.
Yeah, the learning curve seems to be pretty short. I'm just from an outside observer. Now you've done tennis, you've done pickleball. How long does it take to get good at tennis, and how long does it take to get good at pickleball?
3 to 5 years to get good in tennis. 1 year or less
for pickleball.
To learn, you can go out and play right away.
Yeah.
And when they eventually change the entire game to what's called rally scoring, which I won't bore people with here, that we do in Major League Pickleball.
What the hell is it? Rally scoring?
It's like what they did in volleyball, where every point counts. And I'm not even going to try to explain the scoring that they have right now. But I think it's stunting the growth of it, because a lot of people say, I can't figure out the scoring. And
I don't understand.
I feel too dumb playing. And everyone's always correcting me with the score, and I'm on the wrong side. It's not my serve. Da-da-da-da. Rally scoring is so easy. And it's actually right now when I hit with people, it's the first thing I teach them is the scoring, where everyone else trying to teach traditional scoring, they wouldn't touch trying to teach the scoring till after the first 4 or 5 lessons. Your mind will snap.
Yeah. Keep it simple, stupid, right?
Keep it simple. Yep.
All right, let's talk about the business end of things.
Okay.
You guys, we're broadcasting to Lake Forest, and last I heard, there's a couple of guys with $2-3 in Lake Forest. You guys looking for more investors or more teams? How would you? Are you looking for more partners?
Not our Chicago slice, personally. That would be up to the discretion of Ron Saslow, since he's the majority shareholder, and what he would like to do. So I would leave that up to him. But as of right now, and people say, "Oh, what did you pay? How much would a team cost?" Call one of the owners and see how much you can buy a team for. You'll be a little shocked.
It's called Nunya. Yeah. Who came up with the Chicago slice?
Ron Saslow had his family. He's got Joey, Charlie, and Danny, his sons. They had a little contest, and we had one here in the office to come up with a name. And they love slicing is a big shot in pickleball, and Chicago slice. I don't want to say it wrong, but I think Danny came up with it.
Yeah, okay,
and so that's where we got our logo. And October 15th of last year of 2022 was when we got word from Steve Kuhn that there was one more spot available in Major League Pickleball. There were 15 taken. I'm sure you've heard all this stuff. Tom Brady's a part owner, LeBron James. James Blake, Drew Brees, all the top players are in there. And everybody wanted that 16th. And when I was on vacation in Florida, we got word. Ron called me at 7 a.m. and said, "RayJ, we got it. We got the 16th team." And from there on in, 7 days a week. Even when I started with Ron for 2.5 years, it's just so much fun. It just fits my schedule.
Yeah.
I love passing on my knowledge of playing and teaching and the mental aspect, the training, the tactics, the whole team concept, working
Right,
your
right.
way. It's I couldn't be doing anything more fun.
So this growth that's coming in, I would imagine would be, in the sunnier states. What can you predict? Like, I mean, this thing's hot and heavy for 3, 4 years. Where do you see the biggest growth coming? What part of the United States?
Well, just like in the Chicagoland area, I know with us, we have 4 sites that we're looking at to build pickleball clubs,
Yeah.
kind of along the lines of Top Golf,
Oh,
indoor courts, because Chicago needs indoor courts. A lot of the clubs are just lining them, and a lot of the tennis clubs are saying, something, I can split a tennis court in half and get 2 pickleball courts out there and just fill them all day long with
yeah.
pickleball players. So really, we need indoor. It's going to be in the indoor, because outdoors, every place I go, whether it's Florida, Carolinas, California, Texas, every place you go, here's 40 courts, here's 30 new courts, 20 courts, everywhere. It's amazing.
There's more than one thing that happened in Lake Bluff, but how do we get it where, hey, these are things that need to happen in order to have community acceptance of this sport? Is there anybody that's part of the relationship side of things with the city governments and
Well, I personally dealt with George Russell, Lake Bluff, for years, with my Lake Bluff Bath and Tennis Club. And any renovations we did, everything was up to code. There was a lot of stuff I had to do with the zoning board and architectural review boards. So it is a little tougher dealing, just because there's a little more red tape when you have to deal with government and getting things done than it is, let's say, if Ron says to me, hey, RayJ, I want to get in on this in these with these pickle malls where they're taking open warehouse space and just clear them out, putting in courts, boom, in, out. We don't have as much red tape to deal with. But my phone's always been available when Rick Amos mentioned it to me that, hey, would you be willing to talk to Chuck? Anything they want. I love my town. I say it's the best place in the world to live from June 1st to January 1st. Sneak away a little bit, see my mother-in-law in Vero Beach, in the January, February, March. But anything the town needs, I'll be there with open arms to help them out.
Well, we also got the college here, the Foresters. I would imagine they would have a team there. Who knows? Like, you have any big tournaments coming up? Anything you want me to point to? Because I can put a link.
Well, the pictures I sent you. So we just got back we actually won the Challenger, the top 2 teams that accumulated points from Mesa, Daytona, and San Clemente. We ended up second, so we ended up playing the first place team at San Clemente 2 weeks ago, and we won it. So we won the Challenger League, and then 2 weeks ago they did.
That's the silver dish that you guys are holding.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That was our team with all of them out there. And then the draft came up, and they did like lottery. We had put 12 balls in, spun it. Chicago Slice. We lucked out. We got the number 1 draft pick in Premier. Boom. Ben Johns, who just about wins the singles, doubles, and mixed at every pro event. We drafted him first, and then it was just, people said, RayJ, how much are you helping, Ben with the draft, since you did most of the other one? I said, helping him, I could be up 20 hours a day trying to do charts and analysis and strengths and weaknesses. Ben has beaten everyone, played with everyone. He's got a book on everyone. So we went to Central Park last week, came back, and we drafted him. And then Joey Saslow, who does everything for us here at 35 Capital and with Pro Star Pickleball, had him on the headphones for 2 hours during the draft. And Ben put together his list of players we'd like, asked me for feedback on them. We picked our team. And then we start September 21st in Atlanta for 3 tournaments in the Premier League. Atlanta, then La Quinta in November, and then San Clemente for the finals. And then it's cumulative points for the 2014s. Who wins, who has the most points when you play 3 times in the Challenger League, 3 times in the Pro League. And the top 12 teams start off 2024 in the Premier League.
And what? Let's just say you win it all. What besides ego? What do you get?
Big time marketing exposure and help with all of the other lines that we're getting into with clothing and shoe design and new paddles and electrolyte drinks and indoor clubs and teaching and camps. And everyone knows that I'm going to pick Ben John's brain for the next 6 months. That's got to be worth something. He's the best player in the history of the game.
Oh man. So RayJ Murphy, people are watching this, listening to this. How can they find out more about the Chicago Slice and your professional league? Okay,
they can go to I'm a little older, so I don't do Twitter and Facebook. I live on Instagram. Okay. So Major League Pickleball is on Instagram, and our Chicago Slice MLP. You can see all of our posts. You can see people that are tagging us, videos we put on there. And I just, because I'm going in so many directions with coaching and designing paddles and helping out our entire fabulous team we have. I'm down here at 911 West Randolph in our beautiful offices, and I've got so many things to do. I just said I cannot live on social media. I'll just do my
Lake Forest podcast.
Lake Forest podcast, yes, which this is wonderful. You're a great guy, Pete. And Pete, we will video you when we have our first lesson together.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
I will get you out there. You will see in 5 minutes why perfect. Perfect. You will see why everyone loves this game.
Oh, I've seen my in-laws and they're pretty fired up. RayJ Murphy, thank you so much for coming on the Lake Forest podcast, my friend.
Peter's very nice. Let's meet in person, and
you
can always reach out to me, and I'm there for the city of Lake Forest.
I want to see those new paddles.
Oh, we've always got new ones.
Thank you, sir. To have another. The Lake Forest podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Looking for the best pool supplies? Look no further than Dohany's Pool Supplies. With a history dating back to 1967, this family-owned business offers everything families need to keep their pools clean and sparkling, from chemicals to equipment. Plus, customers enjoy free shipping on all orders. Visit Dohany's Pool Supplies today at doheny.com, DOHENY.com, to learn more. Forest Bluff Real Estate Team serves Illinois, Wisconsin, Lake Forest, and Lake Bluff. John Josephitis, Laura Lee Van Fleet, and of course, Michelle Parnell. Get a free market analysis now at forestbluffrealestate.com. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Heidi Communications has been helping first responders arrive safely since 1983. It's owned by Lake Forest's own Mike Havey. Check them out at HaveyCommunications.com. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters: Costa, Lance, Otto, RDM, John C., and Helen. Shout out to the Lake Forest Breakfast Group, Broad Stop and Captain Mike's in Kenosha, the Greentown Tavern, and the Frolic Lounge in Waukegan.